Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the latest FFG live stream, which featured Luke and Vader's new operatives. These are really, really cool, but they also talked about the points rebalancing. There's a lot of tweaks that are happening and some erratas that are happening to Legion cards, so we're going to run down a lot of that. But let me remind you, there is still a few days left to enter the $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Let me know what other things you think are getting points adjustments, because they only gave us a partial list of those things. Also, we see if you can guess what maybe Luke's 2-pip is going to be called, and then we'll see who's right. All right, so yeah, we got to look at a couple of the command cards. We got to look at some of these guys in action, and I know what you're thinking. You're looking at that Luke operative and being like, why is his flap not painted gray? I don't have a good answer for you. It's just you know, it's an alternative. That's what the painting license does. It lets us paint things however we want, because that flap should really be gray. I know it, and you know it, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. When you get yours, you can do it the right way. Or if you want to make it a pink flap, you can make it a pink flap too. Probably wouldn't do that. But yes, a lot of points changes, and these are done deliberately for competitive play. They did point out that if you are, just playing casually at home, you can still run these with the normal points. However, I think most of us are going to probably very quickly absorb and start to implement these points changes, because while they are meant for competitive play, even though I'm not playing in a tournament, I still want to use the competitive play points, because some have said, well, maybe they just kind of said that as a cop-out so they don't have to reprint everything. I think that's kind of a fair assessment, but at the same time, in a vacuum, if somebody were to get like a whole bunch of boxes of Legion and just play with a local group of their friends, they'd be perfectly fine just using all of this stuff. And if they ended up becoming more competitive, then they could go online and find a rules reference guide that's going to have all the errata and points changes in them. It will be in a PDF, and it's coming this Friday, September 6th. You will be able to access all of the errata and rules changes. They are starting this with kind of more of a shotgun blast, hitting a lot of things that needed to be hit. And then future adjustments will be a lot more narrow. I think this first time they said that it's just going to be a lot more because of the first run through. However, future change adjustments should only happen about once a year. They're not looking for the frequency that X-Wing is going to be happening with their changes, every 3 months or so to shake up the meta. They're not looking to shake up the meta. They're just looking to address very specific changes and some things that may have been oversights, or maybe some things that were initially interpreted as one power level that once they were released ended up becoming a different power level. And so that's kind of where it comes from. Now, amongst other things, there is also some errata and some actual changes to the mechanics and the interactions of specific cards, and that is also important because that is going to be reprinted. So one thing particularly is range 5 is now a real thing, and they kind of went back and forth on range 5 because, well, there's only 4 range rulers, there's 4 range segments in a core set, and so now for the first time they're actually asking you to use something that didn't come in a core set. Well, I guess they kind of always have asked you to use something that didn't come in a core set. I mean, just look at the Z6 Trooper. You don't have that many dice. You're very quickly going to realize you need more dice than what you have originally anyway. And so, worst case scenario, you mark where you were and then break off that range 1 and then mark, a little bit more. So you don't really have to, but most of the time you'll just borrow somebody else's range tool and measure that. And so that's going to be pretty cool. But as far as points changes, while there are some unit changes, specifically the airspeeder is down to 140 points now. The harpoon is down to 3, and the ground buzzer is down to 10. So points adjustments all across. And with the ATST, that is down less, but only down to 170. So while we're seeing some of these units get points adjusted, by and large, they said most of the point changes are on upgrades. Upgrades are getting a lot of points changes, so that is particularly most of the case. We got to look at the lists that they were running, and they tried to take advantage of a lot of these changes. So, for example, Saber Throw is down to only 5 points. Force Reflexes is down to only 10. It was 15. All 3 guns for the AT-RT are now at 20 points each. So the Rotary Blaster, the Laser Cannon, and that Flamethrower all are 20 points now. Also, your original core troopers, your Rebel and Stormtrooper Ion troopers are down. The Rebels is down to 24 points. In our newest release, the Rebel Veterans, for example, the CMO 93 trooper is 26 points. So a brand new unit is getting an errata of points, which is very interesting. We're also seeing targeting scopes, a lesser important upgrade, kind of get itself lowered in the point cost. So that much is pretty interesting. We also get a close-up look at the Luke Skywalker card that Eddie was using, and I said, like, Luke gets to run Luke, so I bet he takes a certain amount of pride in that. But Luke, in the order here, Luke has still got Jump 1, he's Charge, he's got Deflect and Disengage, so he can move out of engagements, which is very Jedi-like of him. It's like, I'm not going to stay here and fight you, I'm going to go capture the objective. He's immune to Pierce, and he's got Master of the Force 1. He has 3 Force upgrades and a training, Impact 2 and Pierce 2, Surge to Crit, Red Defense Die, Speed 2, 7 Health, 4 Courage, so very brave. And I want to point out that he's got 7 black dice on that lightsaber, which is awesome. Very, very cool. I love it. He doesn't have Relentless, though, so I'm still not sure if I'd do Saber Throw on him, but it's not bad because, hey, 4 black dice with Surge to Crit and Pierce 2 is not half bad. Not half bad at all. And then for Alex's list, Alex was running the new Operative Vader, but he also ran Force Reflexes, which was reduced. 74Z speeder bikes are actually reduced by 15 points, down from 90 to 75. He ran an E-Web with the Barrage generator. That one is down to 3. Actually, they said both generators are going to be down from 10 to 7. They're down 3 points. He had Stormtroopers with the rocket launcher. The HH-12 is down to 26 points. And so that is pretty cool. Now, I think we also have some of the erratas to show you after we look at the Darth Vader card. So Vader's got two weapons now. He's got the Force Throw, which has Blast and Scatter. A lot of people were asking about Scatter, and Scatter just lets you, if you hit with the unit, I don't even think you have to hit, but what it lets you do is it lets you replace the unit in cohesion as if they had just moved. So everybody except for the leader. So it lets you kind of pull all these dudes out from behind cover so then you can hit them with other things, which is really, really cool. One thing I really like about that is that you can combine that with something like a Force Choke. Like maybe somebody needs to be at range 1 and they're just outside, so you hit them with Force Throw, and then you pull them closer, and now you can hit them with the range 1. Like, all right, I'm going to hit this full Rebel Trooper unit, boom, 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 and pull them closer. And now I can hit the unit, so now I can choke the Z6. So while you might not roll that many dice, he's still nasty. Now, he only has 5 dice on his lightsaber, so he's a little, not quite as powerful as he is in his older self. 2 Force upgrades. He's still got Master of the Force. He's got training now. Deflect, Immune to Pierce, Jedi Hunter, because, again, this is when he was hunting down and killing the Jedi. Very, very cool. It's actually a good ability, too, when you're, I've used it with Grievous, and it's nice when you are going up against the Jedi. Master of the Force, Relentless, and Spur. So Spur is the new one. While you're performing a move, you may spend a suppression token. Gain a, which you could spend a suppression token. You may gain a suppression token to increase your maximum speed by 1, because he's only speed 1, so now he can kind of go a little bit faster, and this is really, really a nice aspect. Now, with 6 health only and 3 courage, this is not the Vader that's immune to panic. This Vader could lose an action. Now, he's got Relentless, so it's not really the end of the world, but, he's, you don't want to use that a little too liberally, but it is pretty cool. Now, if you'll notice on our 1.4 FD laser cannon team, by the way, if you watch the stream, and I'm shaking my head a little here because this is just a little puzzling to me. I did not know that this thing was called a P cannon. And so during the stream, multiple times, they referred to this as a P cannon. And I was like, they know they're on stream, right? Why do they keep saying that? Anyway, I guess that it has a P in the name in between 1.4 FD. So it's a P cannon apparently. It doesn't mean, I don't know. I had never heard of that before, and I'm just a little bit surprised by the fact that they called it a P cannon. But if you're looking at this card here, you may have noticed down here at the bottom, it's now range 1 to 5. So range 1 to 5 is a new range that they have made official now, and then basically you'll just have to borrow an extra range tool from your friend, or bring a 5th one with you. And I think a lot of us that acquired more than one core set, or that bought the original core set and are buying the Clone Wars core set, are going to have no problem using. It's a new way to make. First off, this cannon is going to be a lot better now. Another thing is they also said that snipers are now going to be restricted to range 5. So that is going to be a huge fix to snipers. So that is really, really cool. Range 5 is a real thing now. There are still going to be some things that have infinite range, but it's going to be a lot more restrictive. Things probably like Leia and Veers' command card and the mortars for the ATST, I would expect those can still stay infinite range because those are artillery. But yeah, snipers are going to be reduced to range 5. So this 1.4 FD laser cannon team is now the same range as a sniper with a whole lot more dice, I might add. So that's actually pretty cool. Our E-Web has changed a little bit too. No, it's not range 5, but it did lose the plotting keyword. And so this one is actually particularly interesting. And that just basically means you can now still move twice. So if you want to get in, now you're not like, so basically while you lose, you lose out even more so against the 1FD as far as range, you now have extra mobility to make up for it. And I think this makes these two turrets a lot more playable. I will fully admit to you, I don't think I have ever once, beyond maybe an initial play test, really wanted to use either of these units. I have them, I just didn't like them enough to really want to keep using them. So now I'm a lot more incentivized between the Errata and also the points reduction for their generators. I'm a lot more incentivized to actually give these guys a shot and try to fit them into a list. And that's tricky, especially in a world where the supports have gotten better and better and better. Like, why would you ever not want to run 3 Tauntauns for crying out loud? That's where it comes from, because and now with range 5 and these Erratas and being able to move the E-Web twice, that's pretty cool. I like that. And then, of course, the weapon still has cumbersome, but with reposition and the losing plotting, that helps. That helps. We also got a closer look at this card, Offensive Push. This one, it was kind of spoiled in another one before, but and this is an exhaustible. It's a 4-cost training. While performing in a move, you gain Tactical 1. After performing a standard move, gain an aim token. So basically, you can exhaust this card while you move, and you're going to be able to get an aim token for free. So I love it. And I feel like this, you put this on somebody like Jedi Luke, and plus with Force Reflexes, you get basically a free aim and a free dodge. You're not going to get this one every turn, but if you do decide to recover, this is a really cool one. I like it. And it doesn't have to be on Luke. You can put this on a lot of folks. So, especially, there's always that one time where you really, really, really wanted an aim token. And I think this is a great one. 4 points is kind of cheap. And hopefully we'll get a couple more of these in the card packs too, because I could see wanting to put these on all of my special forces. I could definitely see that being a thing. I'd love it. And we get to look at the command cards, which is so cool. So cool. Oh, command cards. All right. These command cards are very, very cool looking. So we've got Vader's 3-pip here, and these might be out of order. I just kind of have them in somewhat of the order that they kind of showed them to us in. And now, while this isn't the ultra high res version, it's Vader descending on his TIE fighter. So this is like that straight up that scene out of Star Wars Rebels, which does kind of give me hope that we're going to see more Star Wars Rebels characters coming in the near future. While granted, this doesn't have to be linked directly to that show. This is a scene from that show. Of course, we already know Sabine is coming too, so that's always a good thing. That are not coming, but we have Sabine. So there's already that link that we're probably going to get more from Rebels anyway, but having more artwork taken directly from there is very cool. So when Darth Vader is issued an order, he gains 2 Surge tokens. This card may be revealed at the start of the deploy unit step. If it is, it must be selected during round 1. Vader gains Infiltrate and Scout 1, and he must be deployed at the end of setup. So there's a whole lot going on here, basically, and they use this in the video. You basically reveal it at the beginning and say, like, oh yeah, I'm running this, and then he goes last, and then you get to do a whole bunch of fun stuff with him. He gets Infiltrate and Scout 1. So, crazy. They played Luke's 1-pip here. You serve your master well. You will take me to Jabba now. Je vous take to Jabba now. Right? So Luke basically can make one of your own units attack you. Free action here. Choose a friendly non-commander or non-operative trooper unit. So you can make one of your own units do a free attack, or a suppressed enemy. Suppressed enemy non-commander or non-operative unit. Again, it only works on the weak-minded, right? So that one is cool. And perform a free move or attack action with that unit. If it is an enemy unit, it can attack and start a melee with other enemy units. Now, one of the things that was talked about when they were talking about this card in the chat, a lot of people were like, well, can you, since I'm controlling another unit, can I also trigger things that trigger off of a move? Things like Relentless or Charge. And initially they had said no, and then they came back to it like a few minutes later and said, no, I think the answer to that is yes. So I think the ruling, it'll probably be in an FAQ because it is a little bit of a more awkward scenario. But rules as written, it certainly seems to imply that absolutely you would be able to trigger those very same things. Because you're, and also that's the whole point here is that's what he's doing. Luke is mind controlling you, so he's going to be like a snowtroopers. If he made you move, they'd get a free shot. So that's going to be really nasty, and that makes certain units that are very, very strong, like snowtroopers, very dangerous when considering Luke. So we've got Vader's Might. Darth Vader gains as a free action. Choose another non-heavy unit at range 1 and place that unit on the battlefield within range 1 and height 1 of its current position. Then an enemy unit, if it's an enemy unit, roll a white defense die for each mini in the unit, and they're going to suffer a wound for each ink you roll. So now, first off, this is a 1 pip, and it is only affecting Darth Vader, but it's effectively giving you another attack against the unit, which is kind of cool. It can't be a heavy though, so it won't work against a heavy, a tank or anything like that. But you can use this 2 different ways. You can use this to pick one of your own units and put them up on top of something, or you can pull somebody down safely. But also, you can use this just to attack another unit. Like this is kind of what I was talking about with this whole scatter thing, because this is a free action. You can do this at any point during your activation. So you might move, attack, pull them in, trigger Vader's Might, and then force choke them or something like that. And it's really cool. Like ultimately, you'd probably want to do this on a unit that has a lot more minis because you'll be able to potentially kill a lot more of them. You might do this first and then move, and then this is awesome, and it's so versatile because you can use it against friendlies or to help friendlies or against enemies. You can use this against you can use this against like speeder bikes and stuff like that. Just really cool. I love it. It's obviously going to be a little bit more dangerous against troopers, but it's a free action, and it's against a whole fully loaded against B1 battle droids. It's going to be a big attack. Or you might roll 8 dice against B1s, for example, right? 8 dice, and well, the way I roll white dice, that'd probably be 1 damage, but yeah, I mean it's pretty cool, and it doesn't consume your attack. It also doesn't consume, like if you've got force choke or something like that. You can effectively do a lot of different damage to multiple different units. Although this one will not do any suppression or anything like that. You can also just put them in a really bad position. So I like the ability to manipulate and move around troops. Very cool. They did show us Vader's 2 pip. This one is straight from the Darth Vader comic, which is really, really cool. Fear and Dead Men. This is from an amazing scene where Vader was down, from the Vader Down comic, where Vader crashed and was surrounded by rebels, like 100 or 1,000 rebels, and somehow, just killed all of them. It was beautiful. So, while Darth Vader uses Deflect, the attacker suffers 1 wound for each blank result instead of each surge result. So you're a better chance to roll blanks than surges, so that's good. So it makes you really strong. It's almost like Obi-Wan's hello there in a way, how you put yourself in vulnerable and then use this. When an enemy unit at range 1 to 2 in line of sight of Darth Vader activates, Darth Vader gains a dodge token. So it's also going to provide you with lots of dodge tokens. Now you'll want to have people farther away from him, but this is really nasty if you can get him to spur himself a couple of times, get right into the middle of a lot of your stuff, and just wreak havoc upon the opponent. He'll probably die in the process, though, but maybe not. That's the idea. The idea is for him not to. I think if I were to do this, I would have a dead Vader on my hands, but it still looks really cool. And that was it. That was only the command cards that we were really able to see. So they really showed us a lot more of Vader than we got to see of Luke And part of that is because Luke Eddy ran a generic 3-pip card on for his first activation, so he kind of denied us just a little bit more. So, but they did say there'll be more articles coming out soon, so we'll get to see a little bit more of Luke and Vader. Now, also, it was important to talk. There's a couple of other things I think we need to talk about. Strike teams for snipers. I told you that the snipers are going to go up to range 5. The strike teams are also going to go up to 20 points. So that is going to help. I also want to talk about the command cards for that Darkness Descends Vader command card. That one where it's like, if you play this, you have to reveal it and you have to play it first, and Vader has to deploy last. So what happens if both of you do that? That was asked in the chat, and it was basically said that the blue player goes first, and that's basically the simple resolution for that. There was a little teaser towards the very, very end where Luke was talking about his somebody made a joke about his favorite unannounced expansion, and he did kind of hint that we will see a future expansion that doesn't sound like it was a too distant future expansion. We'll have some more competitive battle cards, and this was asked in response to, will we see more battle cards that affect vehicle-based objectives? So it seems to me that we will see more vehicle-based objectives. It seems to me that we will get more, competitive battle cards, not just scenario-based battle cards. So I don't think he's talking about the crashed escape pod or the Imperial bunker. I think he's talking about something new. Maybe that'll be an AT-AT. There's been hints about AT-ATs. Maybe an AT-AT would certainly have some type of vehicle-based objective, wouldn't it? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Be sure to like the video. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You can also check me out on social media. There's links for all that stuff down below. It was a pretty cool stream, though. A long game, but a lot of it was just because everybody was sitting around talking so much. All right, that's all I got for you guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.